to answer them. This is a new adventure for all of us. Our teachers have been working feverishly since March 13th to keep improving on the education that we are giving your students. And we think we found a pretty good blend. We also listened to the things that you told us on the survey about the education that they received in the spring, and we tried to improve on that. Hopefully we'll address everybody's needs, but you also have to understand that with a new program, there's going to be some lumps and bumps in the road, and we just need to work together. We need to communicate. So at FRETS, the online program that you're choosing to do with your child is one that looks similar to a day in school. So in the spring, they could get up and do online whenever they wanted, and I know they had Zoom meetings and office hours with their teachers, but they will be getting a schedule that tells them what time their science class is, what time their math class is, what time their ELA class is, and what time their social studies class is. And they need to be logged on at those times, because there is a teacher, a designated teacher at each grade level in each of those subjects that is going to deliver the instruction to your children at home. He or she will be instructing the virtual students all at the same time. We think that it's going to work rather well. They'll get the instruction, and then they can submit their assignments and whatnot online, and they will be graded on those. They have to be present. If there is a reason, maybe they have the, I hate to use this word, maybe they have the flu and they're not able to be online that day, then you will need to call the school office and call them in sick, and they will be expected to make up the work. If someone has a dental appointment in the afternoon and they're going to miss their afternoon classes, then again, you need to let the secretary know so she can let the teachers know, because otherwise they will be marked absent and you will get a call, and the attendance will be handled just like it is when students are present, physically present. So I've been when talking to parents this week, I've been saying, your students are in school, but they're not in school. They're going to be having all the same expectations and doing some of the same things that the students that are here in person are doing, but they're going to be doing it online. So in order to get grades, they're going to have to produce work and be on the computer during the school hours. The only areas that will not have a one-on-one teacher would be the Unified Arts, these special classes, but they will have them, they can get on them on their Canvas Learning, and the teachers can explain that here in a second, and they will do independent work and submit it, and their specials change every 22 to 23 days. But it works just like it was as if they were in school. And the reason behind that is we heard from many parents that you were frustrated, you didn't know how to help your kids, you weren't sure what they were doing, kids were telling you they were doing the work, and then you come to find out they didn't do the work. This way, there's a check and balance for all of us, and we are going to do progress monitoring on them, just like we do the students here, so you will get a progress report, phone call, check-in every 3 weeks, just like the students that are in the building. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Labella and Mr. Daniels to fill in the details. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're just kind of looking at each grade level will have the 4 core courses. And as Mrs. Slavin alluded to, there's a teacher in each content area. So for example, in 6th grade, their schedule for the online learners would be Mr. Hobbs' first period for science, second period with Mrs. Kuhn for English language arts, third period with Mrs. Gracie Dalton for math, fourth period would be their designated unified arts time. So again, that's the time where they would have downtime that they could log in and work on that. They could work on assignments for the other classes as well. And then fifth period is social studies with Mr. Sircone. So those times reflect what they would have for times at school. What I have done is if a class at school started at 8:55, for example, period 1, I have put their online expectation to be online and ready to go by 9 o'clock. that will give the teachers a chance to get themselves logged in as well after their previous course. Our classes at FRETS are 56 minutes long in school. Those teachers will be designated and have that amount of time for their at-home online learners as well. Their lessons may not always be 56 minutes, just like in the classroom where they may present to a group for, let's say, 15, 20 minutes, and then they're working on the assignment after that, or they're pairing up. Then they would use the remainder of the class time to work on that assignment, to work on completing an ongoing assignment, something that's due at the end of the week. Those type of activities would be similar online as well. They will be available either through like a conference call, a Zoom type setup through Canvas, or via email at all times for those periods. Now, I do want you to remember that those teachers that are doing this online are teaching other classes during the other periods. They may be able to get back to an email here or there, but they can't obviously spend the whole face-to-face time. That's one of their four or five teaching periods that they would have during that day. Very quickly, just so the other grade levels are aware, 7th grade, American History 7 is Mrs. Colwell, period 1. Math is with Mr. Daniels, period 2. Life Science is with Mrs. Labella, period 4. Period 3 would be their Unified Arts. And then the ELA teacher for 7th grade online is Mrs. Rivet, which would be 5th period. For 8th grade, quickly, Physical Science, their Unified Arts period is 1st period. So Physical Science would be 2nd period with Miss Powers. Mr. Joblin for period 3 Math. English Language Arts is with Mrs. Davenport, period 4. And then American History 8 with Mr. Werlau, period 5. We do have a few students that are also taking Algebra 1 online as well, and that's with Miss Stefan as well, and that will be alternating between periods 2 and 5, and we will get specific directions out to those few learners as we go. They'll be alternating their times, and we still have the repeater period in place at school. That would be an opportunity for them to make up some of that time and be able to access Miss Powers, Mr. Werlau, and Miss Stefan as they navigate that part. As Mrs. Slavin said, and I kind of alluded to, the Unified Arts coursework would not be a live streaming type course. They would be able to check in with them at different times, and the Unified Arts teachers could set up that type of thing, but they would be checking it during prep periods and things like that, so where they would have to go online, excuse me, to share that. We do have a question up. Let me see that. If they have an IEP, and what about gym class? So again, the gym class part, we can address. That will be done where they're going to have activities through Canvas as well. And the IEP, there will be the special ed teachers will be reaching out, and they will be having video opportunities with the students at home to deal with their IEP and make the accommodations as well that are needed. This will all show up on their schedule. I'm going too fast to write it all down. I'm sorry. So yes, I'm gonna just hold this up real quick. So this will be on a schedule that will be handed out when they come into school. Some of you are borrowing laptops from the district. There'll be a packet handed out with that. Even if you are not borrowing a laptop, we encourage you to come in to get the information. There are some books, like for example, 6th grade math has a textbook coming home to use as a reference for parts of the course. Algebra 1, there's some materials for 8th grade history as well that will coincide with Canvas as well. Yeah, I'm sorry, do not try to get all of this written down. It will be provided. I apologize for that. I should have said that ahead of time. The other part of the online instructions that we will get, and then before, I'll come right back to what it's going to look like for your students right after that. But the other side of that schedule will be kind of just a laundry list of some expectations. And I just want to highlight again what Mrs. Slavin referred to. Attendance will be taken by the teachers during those class sessions for the core courses and at the scheduled times. Additional time is expected outside to complete other assignments just like they would for homework or other class activities. Individual requirements will be communicated by the teachers. So, they're going to have this expectation, please have this done by the end of the week or by tomorrow, different things like they would on a normal class as well. Mrs. Slavin addressed the excuses part, and the information is on there for 3 different ways to communicate excuses. They could be emailed to Mrs. Langdon, and her email address is provided on the information. Could be faxed to the middle school, and again, that number is provided. Or it could also be mailed, snail mail type thing to Fretz Middle School as well, with the addresses there. I do want to encourage the students' first level of support for their contact should be their classroom teacher, their online classroom teacher. If they are having issues with connectivity, or if, let's say, your internet goes down, there's an outage. It's been known to happen in the area at times. So certainly we would encourage you to call in and let us know. And sometimes it may come right back up and we're good to go and they'll be back in the class. But otherwise, we just need to know so we can let teachers know. I did address this a little bit. The lessons aren't necessarily going to last 56 minutes, but they will meet with them for questions and support each day. Should a teacher be out absent, they would probably set something up for the kids to work, but we may be able to get a teacher in there to check in with them as well during that designated class time. So I want to talk about Canvas is going to be part of the students' Office 365 account. So some of you that are familiar with that, that's what they logged into for their email and things like that at school. So much like when they logged in at school, they would sit down to the computer and type in their username and password, and that got them in and they could access their email from school very easily. We know when we went online last March and in the months after that, that was one of the things we had to reset a lot of passwords and things like that. There was a password to log into this and a password to get into that. So it's now more of a single sign-in setup, which means as you sign into the laptop, that will automatically sign you into Canvas and Office 365. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just demonstrate that a little bit. Now, I want you to remember that a lot of these have been reset. So when we hand out a laptop, it actually has the username and password there. And we're going to look at what we need to do for those of you that did not request a laptop, whether we need to get that mailed out or have a designated pickup time to distribute that as well. So I'm going to share my screen for a second and just demonstrate where they might see it. So this is my logged in email, lots of emails here. But where they would go is up here in the corner. It would go to, there's this little waffle design that is a 3x3 matrix of little squares. So when you click on that, they will get some of the same options here. And since I've already used Canvas, it is there for me to open. If they have not used it previously, they may have to click on All Apps. And now that's one of the ones that is selected in terms of Canvas. So I could just click on that and it would take me out of my email to get to there, or I can use these 3 dots to the right. And if I click on that and go open a new tab, it's going to take me to what looks like a dashboard. So again, if that happens prior to, like some of you that get your laptops here over the next 2 days, and we'll talk about that handout time. I know it's advertised on the website, but we'll talk about that more in a second. But those of you that would get those, if you log in, none of the courses are live until August 24th, which is next Monday. So coming next Monday, when they logged in, they would have other courses there. Right now, it would be kind of just a blank dashboard, but it would have that, Bradford Area School District look to it and things like that. The next thing that I was going to talk about is just the laptop handout. They are being handed out tomorrow, Wednesday, August 19th, and Thursday, August 20th, from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. We will have the packets with the information ready for you as well, and then a laptop. If you did not request a laptop, we will have the packets of information ready for you as well. On top of the laptops, there will be 2 sheets that are identical, and it just tells you what you're getting. You'll get a power cord and the computer, and it'll also have on the top sheet, so make sure that's the one you take with you. It'll have their login and their password, and that'll get them into the computer, and then that opens up things from there.
And if you did not request a computer, like you didn't put a request in prior to tomorrow, you can come and pick up the packet, and the technology team will try to have computers ready by probably, at this point in time, it'll be Monday, but we'll get you a computer. And then there was also a question out there about internet. Right now, we do not have internet available. I know that earlier in March, they did have internet, but right now, we do not have internet to share. When it becomes available, if it becomes available, we'll let you know. I know that all the districts in the area are working on it, so we'll keep you posted on that.
And then Mrs. Slavin, I know there was an additional time, Thursday night, is that 5 to 6?
Yes, sir.
So 8 to 3 on Wednesday and Thursday, and then Thursday evening from 5 to 6 for those of you that are working throughout the day that can't make it 8 to 3. We will ask you to fill everything out outside. We won't be bringing visitors into the building, but we will have secretary staff and or one of us will be out to have you to sign the form and take the information with you.
One thing I do want to communicate to everyone is you are borrowing the district's equipment, and you will be expected to return in the same condition as you received it, or there will be, if it's broken, then you may be charged, and if you do not if you do not return a computer, you will have to pay for that computer. So know that this is on a lend-lease kind of a thing, and we ask that the students take very good care of these, and when the time comes that they come back to school, you will be expected to bring that computer back to us in the same condition in which you received it.
All right, so I think that Mrs. Slavin ahead of this meeting, we talked about there are certainly going to be some bumps in the road. I will say we have some of our best teachers on the task. Some of the courses that they've been able to create at this point, they're not finished courses for the whole year, but a lot of them have already completed the first 9 weeks in their anticipated assignments. There will be some bumps in the road. We anticipate that. We just ask you for some patience. We're going to try to be patient as well. And the communication part. Students are still going to need to use their emails to communicate with their teachers and also communicate through the Canvas courses. It's going to take time on their part. I think we know that how we finished the year with essentially most of the work being extra credit type work is not how we are starting this year. It can't be. So things are graded. There'll be progress checks, there'll be time checks, things like that. And I think that the setup with our teachers being able to be live with them each day, I think will really help our students and help our teachers to build those relationships with students that, you know, they haven't established yet. Some of them may know them, but going into the break last March, they had already worked with them for 5-6 months and knew their personalities. That's the things that our online teachers are going to try to figure out over the first few weeks and get their feet wet. I can assure you that the feeling over the online teachers and students is going to be drastically different from August 24th and even by September 5th, and certainly by September 24th as we move forward from there.
And I think that one thing that can happen here for your children, for the students, is this whole experience of learning online is teaching them time management. It's teaching them responsibility. Like they're kind of on their own and they can't rely on other students or, you know, parents. And we will have a parent meeting later on and teach you how to get on and be an observer and look at their classes so you can see what your child is doing. But like, this is kind of like it's on them. And there was a question a little bit earlier that said, well, if they have a dentist appointment, can they come on and log on? The class will be over, but there'll certainly be work that they can do. The online classes are only the times that are scheduled on the schedule. The work is always there and they can get on and complete whatever work they need to do. But the online, the live part is only during that time, because the teacher that's teaching has 4 other classes that they are responsible, or excuse me, 3 other classes that they're responsible for teaching as well. But I know that the teachers are going to be working tomorrow on setting up like office hours that your kids can call in and ask for help. And they also have the email, they can send emails, and I know the teachers will be happy to help in any way that they can. The other thing that I just want to point out too is if you have chosen the online option for your child, you are committing yourself to 9 weeks. We are asking that you keep your children on the online program for 9 weeks. And if after the 9 weeks you decide that he or she would like to come back to school, or you don't think that it is working, it would just make a better, smoother transition for everybody if you do it at the end of the marking period, at the end of the 9 weeks. And we can help you with that. The guidance counselors and Mr. LaBella and myself, we certainly can help you.
Nancy's asking a question. Are the online classes going to be recorded so they can re-watch them in the case that they have missed it because of an illness or an appointment? So I don't know that necessarily all the online courses will be recorded, but I know that a lot of the teachers have already recorded themselves teaching some lessons now. I'll refer to Mr. Daniels as well. Like, he has made like recordings so that they could pause, for example, like a YouTube video of his smartboard with his lesson going while he talks. Like, he can, a student could pause that and go back and watch that again. As we get more tech savvy, if there were the part of the lesson where they wanted to record that and post it later, that would be something that we could look at, and we could figure that out. And I know that Ms. Powers said that she has done similar things as well. And a lot of the notes will be presented with a audio or video clip to explain those notes, like they would be in a regular class. But a lot of them will be done live as well.
Does anyone have any other questions? There is not a program to purchase insurance for the computers at this time. It was discussed, but it would be too costly for the district. So at this time, there isn't. I'm not going to tell you that that's not going to change. You know, again, just reiterating some of the things that have already been said. Folks, this is a new endeavor for all of us, and there are going to be bumps and lumps, and we're going to work things out. The teachers, like I said, have been working just feverishly and have come up with some wonderful things, but they're still working out the bells and the whistles and whatnot. So I think there'll be some leniency, you know, when they're looking at certain things that your kids are doing. But you know, the key to this, as I said last night on our meetings with the parents, you know, is communicating. And, you know, like we all get upset and we get angry, but if you communicate in a way and make us understand what it is you're looking for, we'll do our best to make it right by you and your child. And there's always two sides to every story. So it's a good thing to get the, you know, ask questions. So I would just ask that you communicate, you email us, you call us, you know, whatever you need to use for your communication tool, and we'll do our best to get back to you and make this the smoothest online academy that we possibly can. But I can swear on my daughter's lives that there's going to be bumps in the roads. There's going to be some things that we're all going to have to work out, and we'll just do it together.
There's a question, are all the schools following the same online format? And yes and no. The yes part is everyone is using Canvas. So everyone will have the same single sign-on feature, pre-K through 12th grade. The no part of that answer is that at the elementary levels, they have really been able, just like during their day, most of their day at GGB, for example, is it within one classroom or within one or two classrooms. Our normal day here, they're in a different class for each of their core classes. So that's why we chose the model of each teacher at each level teaching a core class of online. At GGB, they would have the same kids all day like they would in a classroom. Same at School Street. At the high school, it's more complicated too, with even more options for them. So they're doing a lot where, and I can't speak totally to what they're doing, but my understanding is that they're going to be live within a classroom with some of their students in some cases. We had trouble with the programs last time. Would there be any help if the parents need it? So again, once we have the observer accounts, that will be easier to see what's going on. But there also is an opportunity for the collaboration on a daily basis with 4 different teachers, essentially. So if they can't help with that support, with the students, those would be the first line of defense to email them. And I'm sure that they will be able to coordinate with us and coordinate with each other to get most of the problems and issues addressed. And if it's something higher than that, then we'll look into it and, you know, get the tech department involved and things like that.
There's a question here. It says, will there be some or anything that you require to be physically turned in? All assignments, anything that needs to be turned in will be done electronically via the Canvas platform. Like, you won't have to bring anything to the school to hand in unless your child makes and the teacher makes some kind of an agreement, but everything will be done via the Canvas platform.
Is there any kind of plan for band students? So Mr. Amadon has looked at some options in terms of lessons and things like that. So I believe that he will be reaching out to those individual students who are online. I would assume via email to start with, and then he would end up adding them to some of his lesson courses through Canvas. There is a feature within Canvas, I believe it's called Studio, that would allow them to communicate by sharing a video. A student could record themselves playing their instrument and be able to share that with Mr. Amadon.
Question was, is the high school doing a meeting like this? Yes, and it's happening right now. We weren't aware of that. So, but I do know for a fact that it's being recorded so that if you missed it, you can listen to it. And I believe it's on their Facebook or on their web page. But it is recorded and you can listen to it.
The other thing about the physical turn-in of assignments is that if you are receiving a school laptop, there is there's a webcam on there that they could use to take a picture of something to turn into a teacher as well.
We're all going to learn a lot in the next couple of weeks. Not only the students, but I think we will as well. If there are no other questions, just a reminder, tomorrow and Thursday are pickup, and even if you don't want a computer, you can pick up a packet with the information in it. If you have a student that is learning support, more than likely you will get some things in the mail on top of what you're picking up tomorrow, because I know that those teachers are still working on some things. So if you look and there's nothing in there from your child's learning support teacher, it will be forthcoming.
The packet that you pick up will give you the guidelines and the teachers, and it will have information about logins for Canvas and such, and that will be within the first week. I think most of our teachers have designed some activities that will help students become more comfortable with Canvas. Having them access some of the features in their assignments in that first week, and going from there.
It says, when will we get the schedule? You'll get the schedule when you pick up the computer tomorrow or Thursday. The normal beginning of the year paperwork. Good question. I don't think that it's all being moved online. So those of you who have students that are online will probably get it sent to you in the mail. And then you can just return it if you want to return it by mail, or if you want to drop it by here at Fretz, you can do that. I know the goal is to get those papers online, but in the times that we're in right now, we didn't have time to get that together. So you will get them in the mail.
The only books that we would have would be if a sixth grader is online, we have a sixth grade math book for them, and then we have a few eighth grade algebra students. So otherwise there would not be a book to be handed out. And then the high school laptops for ninth graders and above would be picked up at the high school.
And most of the books are embedded into the classes, so the kids will be able to get into them if need be.
The student would not necessarily need to be with you to get the paperwork and computer. The parent would certainly be enough there. Thank you for the thank you messages. We're trying, we really are. I promise you. I would think that GGB would have a packet of some sort that they will be handing out to their students at the different grade levels as well.
I would call first before I went down, though, because we don't know that for a fact.
Please, if you do end up with questions, give us a call. We'll try to call you back or shoot
Email
an
us.
email and or fill out through the website those emails. It may not be instantaneous. We certainly get tugged in different directions at times, but we'll make sure we get back to you. And if it's Canvas course related, once we get rolling, I think the teachers will be immense supports. They may have to say the same thing we say once in a while, which is, I don't know, but let me find that out for you and I'll
Right.
get back to you. It may take a little bit of that on our part and their part. And like I said, once you see some of the things that these teachers have already created, some of them are outstanding and they're just going to keep getting better as they get more comfortable with the program as well.
Thank you, everybody. We're looking forward to a wonderful, my term this year is this is going to be a remarkable year with remarkable things happening, because I think we have a remarkable staff, remarkable families, and I just feel that there's good things going to happen. So stick with us. You know, we're all on the same page. And again, you know, if you have questions or concerns, email, call, and we'll get back to you. But thank you for your time tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you and your students in the future.
Be safe, everybody.
Thank you.